Hello, everyone. I'm Colin Tessier of WrestleZone.com, here to talk all about a very eventful, if not maybe anticlimactic Survivor Series show here. Yes, I'm flying solo tonight. John Clark, my usual co-host for these shows, is actually in Brooklyn tonight for Survivor Series, so I'm sure he'll have a lot to say tomorrow on the Raw post show. But I'm here to talk about Survivor Series here and now tonight. A long show. The main show started at 8 o'clock. It is now 11:36 as I'm recording this. So yes, a very, very lengthy, drawn-out show, but an eventful one, a good one. I mean, I don't think it was a bad show. Obviously, we'll talk all about that. I want to hear what you all have to say about that. Before we do, just want to remind you all that the show, again, what we do here is available on all of our streaming platforms. So it's SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, whatever. Maybe we've got you covered. So the kickoff show. It was announced, I think during the bump before the show even started, or this afternoon, that the champion versus champion match between Damian Priest and Shinsuke Nakamura would be on the kickoff show. And obviously that was an interesting choice because it's your two mid-card champions. Like for years, obviously WWE has treated the mid-card titles in that kind of spot. You know, when there are other pay-per-views, they'll have the title matches on the kickoff. So shouldn't be surprised in that sense, but still, your two mid-card champions having a match there. I thought that would have been a more logical spot for the Battle Royale that we got, but at the same time, I thought the Battle Royale at least kind of broke up the format of the main show, I guess, by having, we had a bunch of singles matches and we had the tag matches as well. But I don't know, it's definitely an interesting choice, and also an interesting choice to have that match end with a disqualification. Damian Priest snapped. He attacked Rick Boogs with a guitar, and that's what DJ's saying here. It's confirmed Damian Priest is going heel after attacking Rick Boogs tonight. But why? He was so over with the WWE Universe. I would agree. John and I have talked about this several times on the Raw post shows. Damian Priest had, to me, my top babyface written all over him. I thought he was genuinely over. He's been rolling since WrestleMania, teaming up with Bad Bunny. And then in recent weeks, they've turned him heel like that. So yeah, and this was definitely like 100%, or not, maybe not 100%. Felt pretty clear. You attack Rick Boogs, you attack Shinsuke Nakamura with a guitar. That's a pretty heel kind of move. Stephen Chambers saying that Priest is better as a heel anyway. I mean, from what we've seen in WWE, I mean, you're obviously entitled to that opinion, and that's a very valid opinion to have. We've seen him as a heel and a face. I think I've enjoyed him more as a face. I think he's gotten more over as a face. I'm not writing him off as a heel by any means, but yeah, I thought he's been a little more. I don't know. I think he's resonating a little more with me, being the kind of cool, tough guy. Whereas this is like this weird, like possessed, split personality guy. I don't really know what that's about, but I thought it was a good match. A little disappointing that it was to have that disqualification, because I thought that of the two of them, I was predicting a victory for Priest. I think he's been handled it a little more strongly rather than Nakamura. So it wasn't like they really needed to quote unquote protect Nakamura from taking the pin there. Tony Konami Karan saying Priest is better as a face. So this seems to be a little bit of a point of contention here, where some people were saying he's better as a heel, but better as a face. And prior to tonight, he wasn't a full-blown heel. They were just kind of leaning that way. Richard Weaver was a very good point. In 2021, he's saying there's no such thing as a heel or face anymore. And that was something we saw tonight, especially, obviously, the very high-profile match between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Definitely going to talk a lot about that. I want to hear what you all have to say about that one. But yeah, I thought this was fine. Other than the disqualification ending, I agree with that. So score one for, I guess, technically Team SmackDown with Nakamura winning here. The match itself was fine. The DQ was questionable. And like I said, I feel like this definitely does cement Priest, at least in a, on paper sense, as a heel. Again, by attacking two good guys with a guitar, definitely a villainous move, if you will. So not a bad way to start the show. But I tweeted it immediately. I was like, if you're going to start with the DQ, I feel like we're in for that kind of night. So overall here, not just saying it's a decent show. Gave us hope that Biggie might win. Yeah. That was definitely a very exciting main event match there. I thought it was all I could really ask for. I was expecting the Usos to interfere, maybe the New Day, maybe some shenanigans, but no, that was a clean match. We'll talk all about that as well here, but definitely the big story to to start the show, even though in the final minutes before the show, there was definitely some confusion about what would main event. I think Fightful had reported, I think it was early in 7 o'clock hour, or maybe a little before that Charlotte and Becky would main event. And then I think it was probably just a couple minutes before the show started that they reported again that the match order changed and that Becky and Charlotte would open the show. And I thought that was interesting. On paper, this felt like the main event match of the on-screen storytelling we've been seeing. Obviously, all the interviews where they've been very, very clearly blurring the lines of like what's reality, what's storyline. But if you've been following along here, Becky's been saying some really eye-opening things about Charlotte being jealous of her. Granted, things she's kind of said on Raw and SmackDown as well. But and these non-WWE media appearances have been definitely a way to kind of build up a lot of suspense and this blurring of the lines of truth and fiction, I guess. And it's definitely been a little unclear. Like, people were thinking, are they actually going to fight? Are they going to have a match? And Becky herself had said that they had a match. It felt like a fight. That I think that this was everything it needed to be. Stephen Chambers saying he's surprised Becky Charlotte opened the pay-per-view. He thought it'd be the main event. I did too. And then the way that it turned out, it was a very good match. Like I said, it was very much kind of handled like a fight. You weren't going to get a collar and elbow tie-up or anything. This was very physical, as it should have been. These two clearly are supposedly bitter enemies. They wouldn't want to, feel each other out with technical holds or anything. So I thought that was good. It would have felt kind of disingenuous to have them out there, like, I don't know, leaving the ring to kind of like collect their thoughts as you kind of doing some of the usual tropey things. Richard Weaver saying it's the best match of the night. I would agree. I thought this was a very strong way to open the show. And like I said, I was a little surprised, like Steven was saying, I was surprised to open the show, but then the way it turned out, they had the roll-up finish where Becky kind of rolled up Charlotte after she went for a roll-up as well. And then the referee counted her pin, even though she kind of cheated. So a little bit of a turnabout's fair play kind of thing. But having that be the end of the pay-per-view, like on overall, definitely would have been pretty disappointing in some ways. Although we'll talk about the actual main event, maybe some of the disappointment there anyway. There's a lot to talk about there. But DJ saying they definitely screwed up putting Becky and Charlotte first. Might have to do with real life issues as well. I'm not familiar with these reports he's referencing. He's just saying reports that came out last night that Becky wasn't willing to work the match with Charlotte. I'm not quite sure about that. I know there were reports that overall WWE was like very hotly debating the finish. I wasn't aware of that report there of Becky not being willing to work the match with Charlotte. If true, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's up with that. If that did play into the fact that this match opened the show, I'm not quite sure. But Richard Weaver saying that every other match other than this one definitely was predictable. And I would agree. You never, other than kind of maybe the tag team matches of Raw versus SmackDown, you never can quite know like who's going to win. I mean, I think those are a little tougher to call. Raw on the men's side definitely felt more set up to succeed than SmackDown. They had Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, late addition to the team there. Austin Theory had a nice breakout moment as well. And Finn Balor. Yeah, so a very, very star-studded team there. SmackDown, talented team, but I thought Raw definitely had the better group there. And they won. Yes, Rollins started. It was a long show. If I don't remember everything off the top of my head, please forgive me. But yes, Rollins won that match. May as well talk about it a little bit here. So it was Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, and Austin Theory of Team Raw versus Jeff Hardy, Drew McIntyre, Happy Corbin, Sheamus, and oh boy, I'm going to forget, aren't I? But basically, yeah. As I said, Drew. I don't even know, folks. This was a very long show. I'm a little fried, so please do forgive me. But this was interesting in the sense that. As I said, we had the kickoff show with Damian Priest getting disqualified. Kind of had a feeling that would set the tone for the rest of the show, and it did, because Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre both got counted out, so they were kind of unceremoniously removed from the match. But speaking of unceremoniously removed from the match, Kevin Owens starts the match, and he's arguing with Seth Rollins. So obviously they can't coexist. That's the trope they like to do. And then so Kevin Owens is starting the match, and he promptly leaves the match. Quite literally, bell rings. He's probably in there for like 5-10 seconds. And Kevin Owens leaves. He gets counted out, literally walking on the match. And we've been talking about it for weeks now. Obviously, all the contract rumors and discussion about Kevin Owens. His contract is up in January. And at first, for weeks now, John and I have been saying on the Raw show, they're giving Owens this WWE title. peripheral feud, I guess, because he's been feuding with Big E, the champion. So it feels like that's where they've been going here, and not to say that having him walk out of this match like cancels that or means they're not going to do that, but it was like, all right, this man's literally walking on the match, and if that's not like a pretty clear indicator that he's leaving, not it's not like he literally did it of his own accord. That's how he was booked. But I'm saying there's something about it was like, wow, they are very now. This felt like a very much. Dean Ambrose on the way out, like, again, not that he got buried, but he didn't get to be in the match. Like, he walked out 10 seconds in, and that felt pretty disappointing there. So as I mentioned, Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley also got counted out. I thought Austin Theory had a good run here, good kind of chance to break out a little bit. He got pinned by, I think, Sheamus kicked him at one point, if I remember correctly. It's all a blur at this point, folks. But I thought he had a pretty good showing. He lasted longer than Kevin Owens did. Lasted longer than a bunch of people in this match here. DJ saying he was totally wrong about Theory. Didn't think he'd last as long as he did. Has a bright future in his mind. Very talented. I forget who he pinned off the top of my head. I can check my notes if I want to, but and I will. I have it all written down here. I was covering the show, but I thought it was a good opportunity for Theory to have a nice kind of breakout moment, and we'll talk about that in the women's match on the tag team side of things as well. So Theory eliminated. Oh yeah, sorry. Austin Theory pinned Sheamus. Got a little lost there. Theory pinned Sheamus, a former world champion, so that's a big deal. And then I think not too long after that, Theory was pinned by Jeff Hardy. And at this point in the match, I think Hardy was by himself, and the crowd was so behind him. Like, they were really, really rallying around him. It was very clear the crowd wanted this guy to win. And I think John and I have been talking about that since, I think, Money in the Bank, like knowing the live crowd still loves Jeff Hardy. The live crowd wants to see Jeff Hardy doing well, winning, doing meaningful things. And DJ saying, I miss Corbin. Thank you, DJ. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't even keep track. Like, I didn't even remember. By the time this match felt, even I'm sitting here now, the tag team match felt like 5 hours ago, and it's only 11:48 here. Just a very long, dragged out show. I'm going to finish talking about this match, and I have a pretty eye-opening statistic for you all about this show and about why it drags so much. But yes, Happy Corbin was in there as well. I thought Austin Theory did have a good breakout moment here. As I said, Jeff Hardy definitely had a good, you can't say breakout moment. Steven saying any more Starbucks. I was chugging coffee all night long here, folks. My heart's probably palpitating right now. Because this show, like, it dragged. Like, it was rough, and I was covering it and like writing up the news and everything, and I was like, all right, we're getting through it. And started at 8:00, and literally I was here at my laptop at 11 thinking, okay, we're gonna be kind of in and out by 11, maybe 11:30, and then I had to push it back because I think it was 10:55 or so, and Roman Reigns comes out. I'm like, I gotta push back the start time for my podcast 10 minutes, because that's how long Roman Reigns gets for his entrance. But for the tag team match on the men's side of things here, Jeff Hardy, like, the crowd super behind him. I thought for a second there to give Jeff Hardy a much deserved win, have him be the sole survivor, maybe have that set up a feud with Roman Reigns eventually, maybe for day one, the pay-per-view they were heading up tonight. But no, Seth Rollins pinned Jeff Hardy. And you could just tell, like, the crowd was mad. The crowd was so mad. They're just like, they wanted Hardy to win. One of the weird parts of the match was the DJ pointing out, it was Sheamus and Hardy doing the 10 beats of Bowery. So if you remember, folks, last year, Sheamus and Jeff Hardy had a very heated rivalry. Jeff Hardy threw pee, I guess what was supposed to be pee, in Sheamus' face. They had this very personal rivalry with Sheamus making fun of Jeff Hardy for his substance abuse issues. It was very, very, like, bitter rivalry. And here they are acting like the best friends for the sake of brand supremacy. I thought that was a little silly. Not just saying her daughter was pissed. I'm presuming you mean about Jeff losing. Yeah, people love Jeff Hardy. Like, people want Jeff Hardy to win, to have these meaningful feuds and matches, and to get these moments he deserves. Steven saying we might see Sheamus and Hardy feud again coming out of this. I hope so. If, like, I always want there to be a reason why something happened. So it's like, if you're gonna have this play out where it's like, okay, Hardy's gonna win. And I should mention, Sheamus attacked Hardy when it looked like Hardy was kind of on the verge of, like, really rallying here and pulling off the win. Sheamus attacked him after Theory eliminated Sheamus. So kind of Sheamus, I would say, was responsible for Hardy losing like that. So no, if that's the outcome of having Sheamus and Hardy feud again, I'd be okay with it. I mean, yeah, they had a long feud just last year, But a lot's changed. Things have happened. There's a live crowd now. It's a different era. That's just saying that her daughter hates Seth. I mean, I've been there. There have been times I've been very down on Seth Rollins myself. I've come around a little bit, at least, some of his promos these days I find much more entertaining than I used to. I think he's much better as a heel than he is a face. I'll say that much. But no, if you're someone that's like not a Seth Rollins fan, if you're really rooting for Jeff Hardy there, you're probably gonna be upset with this match, and that definitely seemed to be the case in the arena. So, but no, DJ Singh was surprising to see Theory pin Sheamus as well. I would agree. Again, this kid. I won't say kid. He's still probably older than me, but Theory pinning Sheamus was surprising because he's a newcomer to Raw. Like, he hasn't done a whole lot. In terms, like, he got drafted to Raw coming off NXT, and he's done well ever since. But no, pinning a former world champion Sheamus like what feels like a WWE lifer, that was surprising. So I think that kind of to me indicated like he's going places in terms of they've clearly think highly of him, having pinned Sheamus like that. So that was definitely another takeaway as well. But I thought this was fine. But perfect segue. So this match definitely was one reason why the show dragged so much. And one reason for that is that every single person in this match somewhat got a full entrance. So Brian Alvarez of I think he's the Wrestling Observer, tweeted that there were 107 minutes of wrestling on this show. It was on the air for 108. This was before the end of the main event. So call it pretty much before the main event here. 107 minutes of wrestling on a 186-minute show at that point. And so at that point, 79 minutes of the show were videos and entrances. Just think about that for a second. 79 minutes. And it's like, you think about that when you're watching the show, and it's just like, wow. Like, I talk about it a lot for Raw, especially, where it just feels like they are very focused on just filling the airtime. And I noticed it right when the show started. There was like 10 minutes, I think, when the show started. This show was sponsored by multiple things. One of the things was Red Notice. We'll talk about that after this, but I've Red Notice of The Rock's new movie. So we had this like I think it was about 4 minutes of this opening video package for Red Notice hype / Survivor Series opening video hype. And then we got this pretty lengthy video package for Becky and Charlotte Flair. So I think it was 10 minutes, and then they introduced for Becky and Charlotte before we got any wrestling. And I was just like, that, and then this kept going on throughout the night. There were commercials, more entrances, video packages. I think during the men's tag team match here, some of the entrants got a brief video a recap of like, oh, this is why Bobby Lashley was on the team. Oh, this is why I think they replayed why Sheamus got on the team. I'm just like, you gotta at some point trust that either people are gonna watch the product, or they're gonna be like, oh, like why is this person on this team? Let me look it up. Like, this is sometimes I think they really just it's a fair assumption that not everyone who watches the pay-per-view shows are going to watch your TV show, but like it just drags out so much. So like I said, I'm sitting here trying to do this show. I'm just like, I'm fried. Steven's saying he skipped a good chunk of entrances for the Battle Royale. I mean, that's true. That's true, right? They had the 25-person Battle Royale. You couldn't show, if they showed every entrance of that, the show would still be going on. So at least they had a little good common sense there, because that'd be a lot. But that statistic was very, very surprising to me to have just so many entrances like that. Just very, very surprising. But yeah, now part of the discussion here is that Richard Weaver is saying Survivor Series isn't what it used to be. Yeah, well, I mean, they replayed some of the Rock's greatest hits tonight. Some of it was the Rock's 25th anniversary. Don't worry, we'll talk more about the Rock tonight. But and they replayed the one. It was Survivor Series 20. I think it was 2011, I believe. Yeah, 2011 when he teamed up with John Cena to face The Miz and R-Truth. And for me, that was like one of the peak parts of my fandom, seeing The Rock come back, team up with John Cena, who was for me like my era's Hulk Hogan. That was cool. Like, Survivor Series was a big deal. And similarly, Shawn Lakoff saying that it used to be his third favorite behind WrestleMania Royal Rumble. Survivor Series is supposed to be one of the big 4 pay-per-views of the year. And I think at some point in recent years it stopped being that way. I don't know exactly when, but that we are definitely here. That we are definitely at that point now in 2021. And it's disappointing because it's a very historic and prestigious show. And tonight, I'm with John and I talked about it on Monday. Robert and I talked about it on Friday. The build was very, very lackluster. So, they were, I think, kind of banking on on that, right? It's a show that has that name value. So it's disappointing. And again, based on some things that we're seeing, that some of the ways that WWE is changing, I don't necessarily trust them to, I guess, course correct. If I like better word, I don't think they're gonna be like next year. Oh, we're gonna go out and have this super duper fantastic Survivor Series show. I mean, it's the sad thing is on paper, this card was good. You had Becky and Charlotte, you had Biggie and Roman, but some of the build just like wasn't it. And they had the video package for Biggie and Roman, and half of it was recapping the Xavier Woods and Roman Reigns stuff on SmackDown. Like that was Biggie wasn't even, granted it's the New Day, but still, and there's all these things put together. Very disappointing. One thing that was not disappointing is Stephen Chambers saying, "Congratulations, Randy Orton." So tonight, Randy Orton broke the record for most pay-per-view matches in WWE history. I believe it was 177, breaking WWE Hall of Famer Kane's record. So definitely want to take a moment to say, congratulations, Randy Orton. That is an absolutely incredible run. If you think about all the things that he's done, his just I guess duration, for lack of a better word. Even if you don't like Randy Orton, like to look at the guy and be like, this guy's been here. Always, like, he's a company man. Sure, sometimes he takes time off to keep to stay fresh, to spend time with his family. But this man debuted, I think, way back in 2002. Sorry, 2002. Now it's 2021. So 177 pay-per-view matches, battling through injuries, time off otherwise. Very, very just that's unprecedented because he broke Kane's record. But especially now, again, we've talked about it. It's the narrative of the talk of the town at this point. All the constant change, people getting released or leaving the company in other ways. Randy Orton's still there. So to see him tonight, teaming up with Riddle to face the Usos, to pick up a win against the Usos, and that historic match like that. Orton hit this cool RKO out of nowhere. I thought that was very cool. Always a fan of RKOs out of nowhere. Definitely, I just love him when I was a kid, still love him now. Richard Weaver saying Randy Orton's still fire. I would agree. Very, very cool. It's great for Randy Orton. He was one of the guys when I was a kid. Like he was one of the top guys in the company, and he's still here, going strong today. Continues kind of to reinvent himself. Now he's with Riddle. Great run for him. This is just absolutely amazing, and I think he deserves all the credit in the world for that. And I'm glad. I guess I'm glad that he gets to be the guy to break that record. Again, because he's been there. He's always there. He's on his pay-per-views, competing on matches here. So that's incredible. God, he won the match. Would have been a little disappointing to lose that match. So good one for RK Bro there. Not a whole much more to say. Two great tag teams, the Raw and SmackDown tag team champions, doing what they do best. That's what they do. Orton hits RK out of nowhere, picks up a good one in this historic match for him. So not much to complain about there. Not too much. I can't knock that one. Like, it's a good match, good win for Orton, and that's what it was. DJ reporting that Bleacher Report is just saying. Sorry, DJ sharing the fact that Bleacher Report just reported that fans are leaving the arena pissed off about the show, like when they booed the Hell in a Cell ending when The Fiend lost the title match. I'll talk more about the main event and why that might be the case, but I think this was very much a show where people were expecting The Rock to show up, and when he didn't, people were probably disappointed. So, yeah, I could see that. I could see there being a lot of truth in that. So, that does not surprise me in the slightest. So, one thing that did surprise me because I didn't expect it. So, Stephen Chambers is bringing up the fact that tonight the biggest storyline, folks, of Survivor Series, which is supposed to be one of the biggest shows of the year, is Vince McMahon showed up in a limo and he had an egg. People comment about The Rock. I will talk all about The Rock in a bit here. Just want to get through the rest of the show here, which thankfully we went a whole lot more to talk about because there weren't a lot of matches. Like the matches that there were got time, and then otherwise, like as I said a couple minutes ago, anything else was just like videos and entrances. So other than this egg storyline, there's not much more to talk about other than the main event and the women's tag team match. As far as and the battle royale, but that's fine. But the fact that the egg was the biggest storyline here is a pretty telling. So Vince McMahon shows up, he's in a limo, and at first I'm like, well, what's Vince? I mean, I know it's Survivor Series, but it's like, what's Vince McMahon doing here? And he comes out of the limo and is carrying this egg, right? And for me, immediately I saw on Twitter people were saying, oh, it's this reference to Red Notice, the Rock's movie that they were promoting tonight, and that's fine, right? That's cool. Like, okay. But the fact that it turned into this big storyline, and now we have every reason to believe, I think they pretty much explicitly stated that it's going to be carrying over to tomorrow night, or I guess now it's already Monday morning, tonight on Raw. That's as I guess. So basically, let me backtrack. So this man has an egg, and he says, "Oh, this isn't the prop egg. This is the real. What I think it was Cleopatra's egg. It's this highly valuable treasure item collectible. I don't know." And he says it's worth $100 million. There's a cool backstage segment where Roman Reigns enters Vince's office, and he says. Vince tells him it's worth $100 million, and Roman says, "Oh, like this is." I think he said something like, "Oh, this is the same amount as my next contract." I thought that was pretty cool. But then turns out that somebody stole the egg, stole this mysterious, highly valuable golden egg that's bedazzled with jewels or whatever. So Vince McMahon gets upset with Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville and says, "Okay, tell everyone I want everyone on Raw and SmackDown to show up on Raw tomorrow night on Raw." For this wide scale investigation, want to know who stole the egg. Then later in the show, Paul Heyman denied any and all knowledge about what happened to the egg. He did a Brooklyn accent, which was fun. Paul Heyman's great. Not just saying you knew it would come up missing. I mean, yeah, right. Like they're gonna introduce the egg. They're gonna say how valuable it is. Fine, they're gonna have it go missing. Sean Nicholson, the gobbledygook stole the egg. As soon as the Vince showed up with the egg, Twitter hopped on this. They're like, "Oh, it's the gobbledygooker's egg, right? The Survivor Series. That's where the gobbledygooker debuted all those years ago. So this is the next chapter in this ongoing saga of the gobbledygooker." Folks, I said it on NXT when we were talking about the Poker Showdown. Like, I'm here to watch wrestling, okay? Like, I'm not here to figure out what's going on with this egg and who may have stolen the egg. Like, what? I don't know. Okay, I don't know. And now several of you in the comments are saying that the bloodline has it, and also saying that Roman has the egg. DJ wondering if the bloodline stole the eggs, the Roman and or the Usos. They also say they run the place, so maybe they thought that by stealing this very valuable egg that they would, I don't know, cement their power on SmackDown or across WWE itself. And DJ repeating that like that's his theory at least. I don't know, folks. This was something else. Yeah. Not the highlight of the show by any means. What? And we're not done with it, right? They said they're going to have an investigation on Raw tonight. Now it's Monday night on Raw as I record this. So I don't know. Any of your theories are welcome because I don't know where this is going. At this point, I'm sure they don't even know. I'm sure there's going to be a meeting an hour before Raw, and they're going to be like, I don't know, our truth stole the egg because reasons, or I don't know. This isn't for me. If you're into this kind of stuff of the, well, I like a good mystery. I'm not saying that, but you can just kind of tell, like it's kind of, I don't know, needless. Yeah, I don't know. There's just it was one of I guess two big wacky things tonight. Because DJ's pointing out that he's reminding me that the Street Profits threw Pizza Hut pizza into the crowd tonight, and R-Truth gave Otis a slice of said pizza in the middle of the ring. Otis proceeded to chew and eat the pizza, and then when R-Truth slapped Otis's butt in the ring, Otis got mad and eliminated R-Truth. This is something that happened in the middle of a WWE ring. Something that happened on a WWE pay-per-view that people presumably paid for. Whereas if this was on Raw, I'd be like, all right, it's cable TV, whatever. But this was on a paid event, unless you got a free trial, which I'm long past my free trial for Peacock because I cover the things for work. So there you go. You know, it's funny because okay, I'm curious to hear what you all think. I don't even like Pizza Hut. I'm sorry, we're not sponsored by Pizza Hut, so sorry. I'm sorry. Now I'm Team Domino's all the way. If there was like a team Domino's versus team Pizza Hut for Survivor Series, I would be Team Domino's all the way. Always been a much bigger fan of Domino's myself. I know that can be a bit of a divisive point, but no, I'm not Team Pizza Hut. I'm sorry. So then this is not even the first. I can't say this was like unprecedented or we've never seen this. I have this weird, vivid memory. I think it was. I think it was one of the last shows before the pandemic. Maybe TLC 2019. I seem to remember the Good Brothers. Like there was this match where they were sponsored by KFC or something, and they like someone got slammed through a table with KFC food on it or something like that. So this isn't crazy, right? It's a business. They're sponsored. I get it. You get them on the show, you get them involved. You have the announcers put over what in this case it was Pizza Hut. So that's fine. DJ is showing his love for stuffed crust pizza. I used to like that, right? I have had pizza and I like it. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm saying I just prefer Domino's for me. Oh boy, but yeah, Steven's saying from eggs to pizza, but he likes Domino's as well. Props to you. I agree. I'm Team Domino's for me. Yeah, so that's just saying Domino's delivers where they deliver. So it sounds like we all here, or at least from what we're hearing, are much more Team Domino's. But this match was pretty clearly sponsored by Pizza Hut. So the Street Profits brought out the pizza. There were tables with the pizza ringside, and then, as I said, R-Truth brought the pizza in the ring and gave to Otis, and then. Not too much to write home about. Almost accidentally eliminated AJ Styles at one point, so maybe building up a little tension there. We've talked about that on the Raw show before. It seems like that is pretty inevitable here at this point. Where they're going to be splitting up soon. Almost eliminated. I think it was 12 people. These battle royals are very hard to keep track of. I was writing up the article about it, and I literally lost track of one person. I was like, they're supposed to be 24 people, and I don't know. Like I lost track. They have people get eliminated off screen as they do. And Richard's saying yes, almost eliminated 12 people, so that's just about half the field here, which is pretty crazy. And you won the match by last eliminating Ricochet, and I just thought that was funny. I love Ricochet. He is literally a superhero. The man is unreal. He was like he always flies around the ring, does crazy things. There was the Fatal 4-Way on SmackDown. The man like just soared over the ropes. Unreal. He's amazing. But they had him like out there as the last man standing against Omos. I'm like, Ricochet's not going to win. Come on, right? We know this. But Omos won, and then AJ comes back in to celebrate his win. And then, as that's just saying, this kind of sets up some tension because Omos could easily be like, "Hey, I just eliminated 12 people, including you, and I won." So Richard's saying, wondering how many of us thought almost to throw AJ Styles. It wasn't on purpose. There was like some kind of like malfunction at the junction where I think like Commander Aziz was mad and he was distracting Omos, and then like somehow there's some accidental collision where I think Aziz was pulling on AJ Styles, Omos was trying to help, and then AJ got accidentally eliminated, but definitely setting up the tension there. So I feel like that definitely, as Nestor was saying, that you're setting up the split there. But this wasn't necessarily like the launching point of that split. So no, I think that we're planting the seeds. We're going to get there. When that is, I don't know. It still remains kind of a point of conversation. It's like it could be tomorrow. It could be the week after that. It could be next month. I don't know. But definitely there's something to say that, AJ, well, you could easily say almost could be set up for success on his own. You could say, it's as Steven's saying, AJ should get one more title run if that's what he's saying. He wants to see that. Oh, yes. AJ certainly deserves a title run yet again. When he was feuding with McIntyre back at TLC, I thought there's a little chance that they might get the title there, and he didn't. But, I think that's somewhere we could be going. Not too distantly in the future. But then, yes, after the match, the Street Profits threw the pizza into the crowd. And I'm just sitting out on my couch thinking, like, if I'm there, like, I'm not touching that pizza. Like, these guys touched the pizza with their bare hands, threw it in the crowd. There is a very, very good chance that some of this pizza landed on the floor. So enjoy your floor pizza. But, yeah, not for me. But, yeah, this was mostly just like for promotional purposes. Not just saying it was fun. It was fun. Like it's fine. Again, it's a business. WWE has made that very, very clear from the Red Notice promotion to the Zombies back wrestling and Backlash to now this, like to have the actual sponsors on the show. So it's about the business, about the money, and that's fine. Like that's fine. DJ pointing out that the Street Profits gave Cole and Graves the Try Treats box. I think those are the desserts box. I think I don't know, and they wouldn't let Saxon have any. And Saxon said, "I thought we were bros." I guess not. I guess they're not bros if they couldn't have the treat box. I'm sorry, only real bros get the treat boxes. But yeah, I guess the big takeaways. go if you like Pizza Hut, go get pizza. And almost dominated, and maybe this sets up almost and AJ splitting up. And it is a hard point out that almost be throughout in the Rumble. I mean, the dude's massive, and WWE always loves having the big guys dominate in these battle royales and the Royal Rumble especially. So I don't think he's going to win it, but I think he's definitely going to have a good performance. I mean, now it's November, so that's a little bit away, but that's a pretty safe prediction there. But and speaking of AJ, I like to come from Eddie's predicting or hoping to see AJ versus Edge WrestleMania. Oh yeah, that'd be great. They're both great wrestlers. They're amazing. If you remember, when Edge returned at Royal Rumble 2020, he speared AJ Styles and messed up AJ's shoulder, and AJ was kind of like put on the shelf for, I think, if I remember, I think it was like out for like a month, and he came back at whatever the Saudi Arabia show was, and he obviously had the Boneyard match. But man, definitely got a bone to pick with him there. To going back to that, and they're two world-class stars, so I think they definitely deserve to have a feud, and I think that's something that a lot of people like to see. So I'm all for that. I think it'd be very, very cool. So speaking of Red Notice here with the Rock's promotion, Nash was asking if anyone has seen Red Notice. I have not. I am a big fan of The Rock. I am a huge fan of Ryan Reynolds. I will probably check it out at some point soon. Just literally always working, so my ability to watch non-wrestling things is quite low. And it's especially to watch a movie like that. Don't always have the most time to do that. It's on the list. It's on my watch list. So I'll get to it soon because I'm a big fan of The Rock and Ryan Reynolds. So if you have seen it, I hope you enjoy. Or I should say, if you have seen it, I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, I bet it's worth checking out. So and based on all the hype we got tonight on the show, it seems like a big deal. So cool. We got a question a minute ago asking who stole the egg. Someone saying they fell asleep. Trexter Prime saying they fell asleep. They did not say who stole the egg. This is the big mystery unfolding in WWE land right now. We don't know who stole the egg. Paul, like I said earlier, Paul Heyman denied culpability. He denied any involvement or knowledge. I desire saying The Rock stole the egg. This is the biggest theory I'm seeing, that The Rock stole the egg, that The Rock was secretly there, and decided not to show up. That'd be actually really funny if The Rock, again, we're gonna talk about The Rock in a minute here, but if The Rock was there and he was just backstage, he stole the egg and left, that'd be like just really funny. I'm sorry, I think that there's be something very, very ironic about that. But no, we don't know who stole the egg. It is a mystery that will supposedly play out at least tonight on Raw, Monday night on Raw. So we'll find out. Stay tuned, and then as soon as we know more, I'll let you know. But yeah, otherwise, then after the Battle Royale, we had the Women's Survivor Series tag team match. So it was Bianca Belair, Zelina Vega, Carmella, Liv Morgan, and oh boy, second focus. Like I can't even remember. But for SmackDown, it's all about who could or could not coexist. I'm pulling up the teams right now because again, this was a very long show. I struggled to remember it all, and now it is past midnight. So bear with me, folks. But obviously, as you could probably predict, the big story here was, can they coexist? Folks, if you listen to the Raw and SmackDown show, anytime it comes up, I am so fed up with the coexist stuff. So Raw was Carmella, Zelina Vega, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley. Sorry, I didn't remember Rhea Ripley because Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH are the Women's Tag Team Champions, and they're never on TV, and that's horrible. Because 4 months ago, just a little over 4 months ago, Rhea Ripley was the Raw Women's Champion, and then 3 months ago, Nikki ASH was the Raw Women's Champion, and she was left off this show. And you had, I was glad to see Zelina Vega, the Queen, in there here. Carmella could have done without. I think maybe Nikki ASH should have been in there if you're going to have the other Raw, the Women's Tag Team Champion, Rhea Ripley. Why not have her partner? I thought that was kind of weird. But in the end, yes, Bianca Belair wound up being the sole survivor. I thought this was it was a very weird way to get there. The match was very interesting, where I think Carmella was quickly eliminated by Toni Storm, and then nobody was eliminated for several minutes, which is unusual for these kind of things. Usually do some kind of staggered eliminations, kind of draw it out. And I kept thinking, am I missing something? Because at some points, people would be kind of lying down, so I couldn't quite tell how many people were actually in the match. But no, they drew it out like that, where both teams were largely intact, and then they quickly just did a couple eliminations. Trying to see here. So they had They had Team SmackDown kind of eliminate all but Bianca Belair on the on Team Raw. So Bianca was left by herself, and then things got very wonky when Team SmackDown just imploded. They could not coexist. And then they started arguing. Shotzi and Sasha Banks started arguing. They were fighting. Sasha, very much not a team captain move. I think she punched or she shoved Shotzi. She punched Natalya. She brought up Shayna Baszler ringside, and so then they're fighting. And Team SmackDown caused their own captain to get counted out because they could not coexist. Because that's what everything needs to be about on WWE TV at this point. Again, so tired of it. And again, literally the official WWE Twitter account and WWE on Fox will literally tweet, "Oh, can they coexist?" or just they will shove that word into every single into every tweet, into every match, into every story. Oh boy, like I'm gonna lose it. One of these days I'm gonna explode. I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, like what are we doing? Like do something else, please. Like nobody wants to see this. It's not funny to tweet about it on their part. What if the company's tweeting about it, knowing that it's their like trope, knowing and being aware of it and like kind of making fun of it? It's not cute if they're trying or it's not funny on their part. Like fans can be like, oh, it's just stupid, like ha ha ha. I do it sarcastically because I'm so tired of it. That's one thing. I'm not defending myself. I'm just saying like they do it trying to be like kind of funny, being oh, well, you know, we're in on the joke too. Now, I'm done with this kind of stuff. I can't say done with it. Again, I'm here every Monday, every Friday to talk about these things, and I'm gonna be here probably for the indefinite future, being like, yep, we're gonna find out if they can coexist yet again. Boy, Nesha is saying she loves Sasha lost by her team. I'm assuming you're being serious. So I think it was unusual, right? I think it was different, and more often than not, if you're doing something different, okay. But again, the fact this was rooted in their failure to coexist, did not love that. So pretty disappointed with that. Michael Covington with a brilliant comment, wondering if I can coexist with WWE going forward. Good one. Well played, sir. Well played. That's what we're reaching, folks. Like it is my job to cover this, to cover WWE, to watch the shows, to cover the shows for news, to do the podcast. And I'm sitting here Monday, Tuesday, and Friday trying to enjoy the shows, trying to be positive, and like literally on the verge, just like screaming, like, please stop with the can they coexist stuff. I am just so tired of it. As here it is midnight on a Monday morning, and I'm just like, please do something else. Do something else interesting. Because this ain't it. DJ's asking how I think they're going to keep the Shotzi and Sasha feud going. By the way, if you didn't listen to the SmackDown show, I stumbled over these two names so many times, so I learned my mistake. If you say Sasha before Shotzi, I guess I'm wrong. They sound so similar. I keep tripping up on it. I'm sorry. DJ's wondering how long I think they're going to keep the feud going. I mean, this seems like it's going to continue for a while. They had their first singles match, I think. Yeah, I guess the Shotzi faced Charlotte Flair a couple weeks ago, and then that led to this feud. They had the segments. I think this was their first match, I think. So knowing WWE, we'll probably see this, I don't know, 3 or 4 more times at least on TV, let alone house shows. Yeah, that'd be my guess. My gosh. But yeah, it's November. The next WWE pay-per-view is day 1 on New Year's Day. I hope they don't draw it out till then. I hope they wrap it up. Maybe Steven saying they could draw it up to WrestleMania. I hope not. I'm already kind of tired of it. You got Shotzi kind of like yelling at Sasha. Again, I think much like Damon Priest, Shotzi is better as babyface. I think that she's trying. She plays the part well, and she's trying to just make the most of it. I think she just seems like a natural babyface. She's got like the green hair. She's got the fun personality. She seems much better as a babyface. So I think that's kind of a miss in that sense. But that's just saying I miss her tank. Shotzi was over, and people loved her for the tank and for her fun personality. And now as a heel, you don't get to do a lot of those things. And like a heel having a tank, like that's not the same, right? The second part of DJ's question was asking if I think they're going to have Natalya, Baszler, and Shotzi be a new faction. I mean, I'm going to answer that partially. They very clearly are kind of going for Natalya and Baszler being like Sonya Deville's goons in a way. So I think women get a tag team there because the women's tag team division is so thin. If I think they're going to be a new faction, No, I think Shotzi seems like more of a lone wolf at this point. I could be wrong on that, but that would be my prediction at this point. So I think we are going to see Shotzi. Sorry, going to see Natalya and Baszler as a team, but not trio, maybe not yet. Maybe at some point. Ness is saying we'll probably get a team, but that'll be my guess. Ness is also telling me to wrap it up and get sleep. Well, I got to talk about the main event. I got to talk about the most disappointing part of the show, not the countouts, not the what was it, the 79 minutes of entrances and video packages. No, so we had the main event. And sorry, one more thing about Shotzi. Bitmogan also saying he misses Shotzi in her tank. Tank was great. Hopefully, at some point, not too far down the road, they'll turn a face again, and she'll have the tank. So, yes, we had the main event match. We talked about it earlier in this show, where at first we thought we were going to get Becky and Charlotte in the main event, and it wound up being Becky and Roman Reigns. I mean, Becky and Charlotte, I think, in a lot of ways, deserve to be the main event for the. Again, ironically, a lot of the build was not on WTV. It was Becky in interviews, really just with some eye-opening comments about Charlotte and their broken friendship. So that kind of carried the story for me. I'll admit, I bought into it, and then in the last 2 days, I've been like, wait, is this all kind of like, are they working us, or is this are they just kind of like playing up on maybe a little actual tension? And like, I still don't know. I still don't really know. Like, and nobody other than probably them and the people closest to them really knows how much of this is fiction and truth. But I think for that reason, and for the actual storyline as well, I think that was the more fitting main event in some ways. But Big and Roman Reigns main event of the show, can't complain. Like we talked about earlier, we had the roll up with Becky and Charlotte, so I was expecting, okay, that wouldn't be a great way to close out the pay-per-view. So Big and Roman, I would expect a clean finish, even though in my mind I was like, they're gonna have the Usos interfere, they're gonna have all these shenanigans so that whoever wins, it won't be 100% clean. But obviously, folks, we've got several comments about already tonight. This being The Rock's 25th anniversary, this show being clearly sponsored by 100% sponsored by Red Notice, The Rock's new movie. The show being in Brooklyn, New York, this big wrestling city, if you will. All the writing was on the wall for The Rock to be there. Even if it was, I mean, in some ways, I expected just maybe comes out being like, oh, the Rock has finally come back home, blah blah blah, doing his thing. Everyone loves it. Crowd goes crazy. Hooray! And then we get Big A and Roman main event. Unfortunately, people like myself are like, oh, are we going to get The Rock? Is The Rock going to show up? Is he going to show up? Are we going to get The Rock and Roman WrestleMania? Now we've had several comments and interviews from Roman and The Rock. I think The Rock himself there have been reports as well. I think now the expected outcome would be that we might get Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood. That would make sense. Obviously, WrestleMania 38 is the one that's coming up. So but again, all these signs here, you're like, oh, are we gonna see this? And then so that kind of was like, that was one thing against this main event. All right, I think a lot of people in the crowd were like, okay, we want to get. I think a lot of people really thought The Rock was to show up again, myself included. I'm sitting there like, okay, good main event, it's fun, we're vibing. And then I thought, okay, we're gonna get The Rock coming out. So I've talked about it a lot here. I do the SmackDown show, I do the Raw show. Before Biggie won the title, when he was on SmackDown, I was like, I was beating the drum for Biggie. I'm like, oh, give this man his due, give him a title run, do right by Biggie. It's great. Come on. And then he wins the title, and it's great. And he's had a good reign. And then he gets this, and then pretty clearly, this was back in September. They set up this feud with Roman Reigns, and it's like, all right, like that's probably where we're going for Survivor Series. Great, the two top male stars in WWE at this point. Cool, great, it should be fun. And then they didn't really do a lot of build directly after they had, what was it? I think they had like the 6-man tag back in September, and then they had I think a couple other things here and there. They had some confrontations. But no, otherwise, like I said earlier, this is very much built around Roman feuding with Xavier King Woods, which makes sense. They had Roman and Biggie brawl on the Go Home show. But the build definitely took something out of the match as well, where it's like this wasn't like this very hot main event of a build. It was a hot main event on paper because you two top stars in men's division. So that cool. I was excited for it. I didn't really know what to expect. But then by the end of the show, Raw dominated SmackDown. I think it was 4-1 before this match of Raw to SmackDown. So obviously at that point you're like, all right, I'm sorry, Big E's not winning. They've got to at least have SmackDown get like a little like one win there, one more win, so it's not a complete drubbing like that. Fun main event, definitely. These two guys are great. They've got a lot of star power. It's great. I love it a lot. Next thing was a great match. I think they're both immensely talented. I'm not going to knock the match. That was fine. But the crowd was very, very tired, right? The crowd was tired. It was a long show. Again, all those video packages, they take a toll. If you're the crowd sitting there, you're sitting through these things. It's a long show anyway. And then, as I said earlier, the men's match, the men's tag team match entrances, I think those took at least 10 minutes. So there you go. So you get to this main event, and it's, I think it didn't start till roughly 10:55 Eastern. So that was like if you count the pre-show, 4 hours into the show. So no, the crowd was tired. That took some out of it as well. Then you have people being really, really thinking The Rock might show up. So in the end, no shenanigans. Also surprising. Roman won cleanly. A little surprising there. So I thought that was interesting. Biggie wins. Sorry, no, Biggie did not win. Roman won. Clean as whistle. Okay, not great for Biggie like that. I thought he should have interfered. And yeah, Steven saying it was a good match, but the fans were half asleep, literally. And I'm sitting here, like I said earlier, I was chugging coffee, trying to stay energetic, and be like, all right, knowing I had to come on here and do this. I'm like, all right, it's a good match, but you can just tell the crowd's not really feeling it. And that's a bummer. I thought the guys went out there, put on a good match, and I enjoyed it. But it's a bummer, right? So Biggie winning. Damn, sorry, folks. I'm tired as well. Roman winning cleanly. Again, not the best look for Biggie, but there was one little Colonel pointed earlier. There was Paul Heyman, I think right before this match, she was backstage. Kayla Braxton snuck up on him, as she does, and she said, oh, Brock Lesnar's suspension is no longer indefinite. So maybe there's, I think, someone said, I think that they thought that Brock would show up. DJ said he thought that Brock would not The Rock, Brock would show up when Kayla said that. I mean, there's something said for that. If you couldn't get The Rock, why not bring on Brock? Literally, But no, the Roman won, folks. Allow me to recreate the last solid minute of the show, right? So for myself, so the match ends and Roman wins, and I'm sitting here and I'm writing up the news article of the result. I flip over my phone so I don't see any group chats. I close the Twitter tab on my computer. Don't even look for anything on Twitter. I have a bad habit of looking on Twitter when I'm watching a show, and sometimes it's a little ahead for me. So then things get spoiled. So I don't want it to be spoiled. I turn off. I close on Twitter. Not even that, folks. I literally closed my eyes because I thought, okay, I don't even see them do the camera cut. I thought we were gonna hear The Rock's music. I thought the crowd was gonna go crazy, and I just wanted to really soak in that beautiful moment of The Rock coming back and having that. Because why else would we have this match main event and have it end like that? And just I thought that they were gonna do something. So I quite literally close my eyes and wait, and I wait, and then whoever it was, Pat McAfee or Michael Cole's all right, folks, thanks for tuning in Survivor Series. We'll see you tomorrow on Raw. I was like, and I opened my eyes. I'm like, wait, what? And I saw the copyright logo of that usually was literally shows anything. I'm like, we're not getting The Rock. Literally, I was like, oh man. And so then DJ brought up earlier the Bleacher Report and people are leaving pissed off. So yeah, you're gonna have a show, literally promoting The Rock's new movie, 100% opening video package. This freaking egg thing throughout the show, with the egg being from The Rock's movie. This show being in Brooklyn on The Rock's 25th anniversary, you're not. And okay, I'm not saying this is WWE's fault, right? If The Rock is a very, very busy man, obviously we all know that, right? He's a huge movie star. I'm sure he's very busy. He's got this new movie that just came out, and I'm sure he's doing media and PR and whatever. All right, I get that, but man, and Michael Coven saying that he was filming a movie in Australia, but still, there's just something that's so disappointing about that. And that's just saying it was disappointing, And for me, I feel like an idiot. I'm sitting here literally eyes closed, all right, The Rock's gonna show up. All right, it's gonna be cool, and he doesn't show up. He doesn't show up, man. I'm just oh, I fell that down. I did, I should have known better, right? It's my job to cover, to be aware of what's going on, to kind of be, and I think someone had reported, I think early November, that there were no plans for The Rock to be there, but things change. You never know, who knows? it was a bit of a letdown. So DJ saying he loved having Roman threaten to beat the crowd up. Yeah, the Roman is great. There were a couple moments where he could tell the crowd was very down and tired for the match. In terms of tired from the whole rest of the show. So there he like was talking some trash and he was beating up Biggie, and then Biggie rallied. The crowd kind of got back into it. Roman's good at this whole wrestling thing. Right? Obviously, we know that. Now, I was just saying, if The Rock was busy, you could have at least had him Zoom call in. At least had him be like, all right, no, The Rock, whatever, right? Drop some of his catchphrases. Have him, do like if you're small, The Rock's cooking, whatever. Literally 6 seconds. I don't know. And then maybe that would be even worse, right? Maybe that would have been disappointing too. But just to see him, right? It's his anniversary, to give him that moment. Not that he even needs it. He's The Rock. He's this big star. But I don't know. That was disappointing. DJ saying that The Rock could show up tomorrow. It's the same building. I mean, yeah, but it's Survivor Series, man. Like that was his anniversary, right? Like at that point, it's like a little bit of a missed opportunity. That's just saying the fans would have been happy. I think every single person in that building wanted to see The Rock show up tonight, and he didn't. And that's no fault of The Rock. Michael still was saying that that The Rock's in Australia filming. I understand that. Okay, I do. I'm not blaming The Rock. I'm not blaming WWE. This is nobody's fault. But again, just the fact that they promote the movie so heavily, they had the freaking egg storyline from the movie. They had the Rock's greatest hits from Survivor Series on the like the old video packages. Just really felt like they're going to do it. And then the fans, we're really thinking they're going to do Roman and The Rock. And again, just thinking it would have been a good opportunity to do it. And it felt like this pay-per-view needed something like that to have that tease. And they didn't do it. Necessarily, they gave all the signs of The Rock without actually giving us The Rock. And that's all there is to it, right? That's how it turned out. And I think that's why it was pretty bittersweet. But it was interesting. I saw a lot of people on Twitter, just now from overall thoughts on the show, a lot of people on Twitter were saying like it's terrible. It's just like it's bad show. I didn't think that. I mean, yeah, I was tired. like again, the 79 minutes of video packages and everything leading up to the main event. That's a lot. Way too much. Becky and Charlotte was very, very good. I like that. I was very surprised that I actually got a clean pinfall. I liked the tag team match for the Raw for SmackDown traditional tag team matches. Although they were good. Again, the booking was pretty weird in both cases. With Drew and Bobby getting counted out, with Sasha getting counted out as well. Could have done without that. Could have done that without Damian Priest getting disqualified. Yeah. I didn't think it was a bad show. I didn't. I did not think it was a bad show by any means. I say all the time. The build more like this has become the pattern. The build is to the pay-per-views is not good. The weekly shows usually aren't that good, and the pay-per-views are. So then it's like, all right, one night you get a good show, and then it's back to business as usual. I'm not trying to bury the product, right? There are things about Raw I like. I like SmackDown more often than not. So, there are things we always try to enjoy the wrestling here, and then you got a good show. I thought it was fine, right? I think it would have been. I think it was a fine show, and I would probably say it would be a good show. Maybe if they had some less videos and cut down the entrances, and again, I think maybe the Stevenson, the better would have been better on the pre-show. I would agree. And obviously, I'm not the booker. That's not my job. So again, I'm here to kind of critique the choices they do make. But yeah, if they want to do the countouts and disqualifications, like that's on them. I don't think that's good. I don't. I will say okay. For Becky and Charlotte, I'm glad they got a clean pinfall. I was rooting for Becky all the way. I'm glad she won. For the main event, I thought Biggie losing clean was definitely kind of not a great look, because this was a very good chance for him to really solidify his status as the guy, at least on Raw, and to lose like that. Not the best look. But for all you guys, I want to hear what you have to rate the show, because we're wrapping up here. Now she's giving it a 7.5. DJ is saying a 7.3. Steven with a 7. So I mean, it seems like for a pay-per-view that might be roughly average, maybe borderline below average, or maybe depends what spectrum you're grading it on. I mean, usually I give Raw low 6 or mid 6. I feel wrong giving a show a bad grade. They usually put more effort in for the pay-per-views. So like I don't want to knock it too much. Again, I thought it dragged at points. I thought there were too many videos and whatnot. I think I'll agree with DJ's 7.3. So, not a bad show. Not a bad show. Admittedly, like coming out of Crown Jewel, I like that a little more, I guess, in some ways. I think I was a little down on that one as well. I remember liking Extreme Rules until I'm comparing from what was recently. Until the end of Finn Balor, I thought Extreme Rules was very, very good. So I thought that was kind of better than this. So maybe I'll remember what I gave Extreme Rules, but I think 7.3. And the weird thing about this is that like none of this really matters, right? Like that's the weird thing. It's an all-star game. It's kind of weird of us like, okay, we're gonna have these matches, and there are some things that might matter. Like we got the AJ Styles thing with Omos. We got Sheamus and Jeff Hardy that might like mean something. But otherwise, like none of these matches are really gonna like carry over all that much beyond this week, right? I think come this time next Monday on Raw, they're gonna be like fully onto other things. Steven's saying he's dreading Raw and dreading this egg, dragging this egg thing into Raw. I think he means, I have a bad feeling that they're gonna have like 5 segments about this egg tonight on Raw, and that's not great. Yeah. So hopefully that'll be it. Hopefully, like they're not gonna drag it out too much beyond that. But I'll be here to talk about it. I'll have John Clark back here to talk about it with me tonight. It's already Monday as I'm recording this tonight here on Raw. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I appreciate you all so much for staying here with me, for talking about the show with me. It's Survivor Series. In theory, it's supposed to be a special show. It was a special show. Maybe not to the degree that it once was, but again, not a bad show. I thought it was fine. That's just saying that Roman's going to take the egg at this point. Sure. Give Roman the egg. Give Roman all the gold. Literally, quite literally. We'll find out what happens with the egg tonight on Raw. John Cochran and I will talk all about it. I'll ask John about his live experience as far as the Survivor Series because he was there in person. So with that being said, folks, I do want to say quite sincerely, thank you so much. I would not be here doing a show if not for you all. It is again quite literally almost 1 o'clock in the morning on a Monday morning. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here with me to talk about the show, to share your thoughts about this wrestling. To do it on a Sunday night, heading into Monday morning, to do it on a Monday night for Raw. Johnny Carpenter here on Mondays. We're here on Tuesdays for NXT. Robert and I here on Fridays. So to have you guys support us, to have you guys helping us, talk about the show and interacting with us, like it seriously means a lot to me. I love what I do. I love doing these shows. I love talking to you all. Your support means the world to me. Quite seriously, it's really special to me. Vernon and now Nesha again telling me to get some sleep. It's Sunday where she is. It's Monday where I am. So I don't know if you're gonna do a different time zone or something. But yeah, man, it's getting late. So with that, I will say I'll be here yet again Monday night to talk about Monday Night Raw. It's Monday as I record this Monday morning. It's technically still Sunday. I count days by when I'm awake. So it is still Sunday, quite literally. But I'll be here on Monday night talking about Monday Night Raw with John Clark. John, I'll be here on Tuesday to talk about NXT. Robert and I will be back here on Friday to talk about SmackDown. The two Dynamite Tuesdays on Rampage cover all things AEW. So if you are a part of the elite team, make sure to tune into that. Otherwise, we have a great stream of interviews constantly coming at you guys, whether it's SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, whatever it may be. We've got you covered. So leave a like and subscribe. And remember, like if it's Survivor Series and the show's not that great, or if it's another show that is good, like wherever it falls on the spectrum, we try to do one thing, or we try to do that alongside you. We're here together, trying to do one thing together, because it's what we do here at WrestleZone, and that, my friends, is to enjoy wrestling. So with that, I say thank you for listening, and have a